Okay, so we're calling to order the June 8th Historical Commission at 9, do you have another time?
15.
9:15. Okay, and so we have President David Metz.
You hear anything from Betsy?
Well, you were mentioning to me, I was gonna say that
So
Becky's.
my commission was up this year, so I had to send them information to renew it. I can't remember if Betsy was the same year as me or if she's
I think it's
next.
me. It's me that's the same year. 'Cause
Okay.
mine is up. I got a
Oh.
letter.
Okay, so Betsy I think is next
Yeah.
year.
Oh, I remember you and Betsy coming in at the same time, but they different
Yeah.
periods of time?
Yeah. So
Okay,
unless as far as I know, she hasn't resigned.
okay. Okay. All right, well, we still have a quorum, so that's the good news.
Yep.
All right, so hopefully you're continuing, Sarah, too.
I think so.
Yeah.
If you would like me to.
We'll put up with you.
If that's your consensus.
Okay, good. So, basically our plan today is just to figure out next steps and what we want to do with this district.
So after we met last time, we've thrown around a bunch of different things. I had actually ended up talking to Ben.
Ben Haley, I'm looking at his
Haley, yep.
emails
Yep.
now.
Thank you. Just want to make sure I had the right name. And asked him about the library, the town hall, and the post office / old town hall.
As separate.
As
buildings.
separate. I said the big one was the library. And the first thing he said, are there any renovations? And I'm like, we are trying to get grant money. He goes, do not bother.
Do not bother.
Because if it's under renovations, you can't have it put in. So if we go through all the,
Oh.
if we dedicate all the time to doing the library, and then the grant Justin's applying for goes through, or it ends up in any type of process,
Contingency or something.
yeah, we've wasted time.
Okay,
However, if it's part of the historic district,
that's fine.
that's a different story.
Okay.
So based on everything, so then I also asked him, well, when we're talking districts, does it have to be a nice little neat box?
Yeah.
And he said no.
Okay, good.
And I think it was Lexington, they actually had a funky one.
Yep.
So I go, so exactly how is it? He goes, you draw your streets and then draw around them. And anything that falls within that is what you have to do.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys can see the
So do you draw, it's like say you draw it and it's like a zigzag, so then you make a box around that? and
well,
that's
okay, so everything in purple
Mhm.
were the streets we were talking about.
Right.
Okay.
Okay? So then, what I did is I drew the border. Let me tell you, not fun. So the pink is the border.
Right.
And this covers every property. That looks like one of the Star Wars ships.
Wow.
And I sent this to him.
Okay.
And he said it was okay.
Okay.
All right.
So but I mean, you see what I mean? It's a funky shape.
yes.
Where we get really funky is the fact that we want to include Schuster's Mill.
Yeah.
So you've got that weird bit there.
Yeah, but that's okay.
And then I think
What street is that?
this might be Caswell.
Caswell Court, that we didn't want to use much of it because of
Because there was
so
like
much infill.
yeah, and,
Okay.
and there's a lot. The problem is there's a lot of infill that's just pointless.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? What happens? And he said it was okay.
All right, good.
So this is, I guess, what we would call our downtown historic district,
Okay.
based on if we're kind of focusing on the mill narrative.
Okay, so I just have one question. So if the
Whoops. Oh, sorry, I didn't bother plugging it in.
oh
Come on, there we go.
all right, so like with this blue,
Yep.
all these houses would be included.
Yep.
But now we have to. Are we adding any properties by doing this outline
No,
or
the,
no?
the problem is these are two huge properties.
Oh.
So
The big parcels, the big
yeah,
parcels.
technically, what we would normally think of is it would be cut off like here and here, but these are just huge
Just a lot of
parcels
lands.
of land that are attached to these two properties.
It seems like we have so
Which is
many of
wh-
that. They're like most are like point whatever, and then we've got
but because it's these two little houses right there, this property's included, which is why we've got the weird shape.
Fine.
Okay, and these are just off of this, so that's why you have that outline.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
alright.
this is A Street,
Right.
and then Casino Drive, I believe, is this one here.
Okay,
So A Street, Casino, Manchog.
okay, all right.
Then this goes up to Cave's old house. Billadoo's now.
Okay, yep,
This we went right up to the town hall, and we pretty much stopped at the town hall.
okay,
There were a couple older, but we would have been having to go
Way out, Depot.
way out, and that's what we were trying to avoid.
Exactly.
We only went up to the old grammar school.
okay,
We did not bother going up into the current elementary that was built late 70s. We stopped at the grammar
okay.
school. We went up to, sorry, I'm just trying to get my bearing.
Mm-hmm,
I believe we went up to the Sokol. And then the house right across from the Sokol is where we stopped there. We
Okay.
covered that very, yep, we covered the very small part of Charles Street, just the beginning. But what was nice about that is it included all that town property. So we were able to kind of go up into Schuster's Old Mill
Right.
and come down. So
Okay.
any questions on how that is done?
no, I don't.
Okay, so what this ends up being is we have 239 properties.
Okay, and that's down from 400 and something.
Yep, and I'll be able to send you guys this.
Okay, yeah, and I'm looking at our notes from March, and so we probably lost a couple of them, because we went from 415 to 245 when we met last time, so it's
Okay, so
essentially the same as what we
Right.
talked about.
actually, if you guys wanna look at this, what
I can just come over. We can all get together.
Okay, that's just per street, yeah.
Yeah.
Project downtown.
Yeah, so very few in that 1970 era.
Right.
So this is the 2022 project. This looks nice. Here's a pretty form I'm looking for. So if we look at year built,
Mm-hmm. Most in the
Um,
1800s, that's great.
so if you guys need me to scroll down, because unfortunately I
see
can
it.
only
We can
go,
see
Yeah,
you.
we're looking at it together.
I can only go so far on this.
But, so, Becky, you seem to know the years, like when I'm looking at this and I'm seeing it's 1800s, which is great, you know, like
Yep.
that's the vast majority. And that goes to our Mill Village narrative, right?
Yep.
Do you know what the year roughly is for that?
So you've got 2 mill periods.
Yeah, what were the years again?
The hunts were,
Sorry, I put you on the stop.
no, the hunts, I want to say 1830s,
Yeah, that sounds right.
1840s.
Uh-huh,
That was the earliest.
To probably the 1870s, 1880s.
okay,
Then you had the Hayward Mill start to come in during the late 1800s.
okay,
Schuster became a partial owner at the turn of the century.
okay.
And then you have the heyday of the Schuster Mill, which was basically 1900 to just post World War II.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, what did you call that one? Hayward Schuster, that's Hayward Schuster?
David
Yeah.
Schuster.
So Hayward came in first, and I believe he was Uxbridge, and he brought some of the mills to Douglas.
Okay.
Schuster started working for Hayward, quickly worked his way up.
Mm-hmm,
Then it became Hayward Schuster as they opened up the mills, and then
okay.
it became, in 1904, Schuster built the big mill.
Mm-hmm, okay.
But I mean, if you look at the ones that we've gotten rid of, it's really like Caswell Court we lost 5 properties.
Mm-hmm.
But they were in the back, which was the problem.
Right.
We cut out a lot of North Street.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's, no, 13 versus 45 or 53.
North Street is 53 total that we had.
Yeah, and now
What are
we've
we
got
down to?
13.
13.
Yeah, we.
Yeah,
The problem is the really old ones were at the very,
Very, very
end.
end, just they're way the hell up, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and
not consistent. I have to agree.
especially if you're trying to stick with the mill narrative,
Mm-hmm.
those were going to be more of the farms, the old Douglas, that kind of stuff.
oh,
And Northeast Main Street, we also cut back quite a bit.
29, down to 11.
And Main Street, I think we kind of kept around the same. Because that's where you run into the screwiness of Northeast Main Street and Main Street being the same street but not the same street.
Yeah, 51 on Main Street. So this Main Street is all the versions of Main Street, right?
Right.
No, well, no, because you've also got Northeast Main.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
that's right.
11 on North.
So you've got
Okay.
these two.
Okay.
So 29 down to 11. Okay.
On which one?
Northeast Maine.
Well, because what we did is we stopped at the Sokol,
Oh, right.
where before we had
Yeah.
continued
Right.
and we were basically at Bangma's.
Oh,
Mhm.
all
Not
right.
at Bangma's, at Bosma's, I'm
Bosma's.
sorry.
All the way
Yeah.
to the end.
Yeah,
Okay.
we had cut out a lot of that.
And a lot has got new, has a lot of new infill in it too now.
Mm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm happy with that. Well, can we do a mill narrative when it's 2 different mills? I think we can.
We can. What we can
Hmm.
base, I think, if I recall, what Ben said is we basically want to be like downtown.
Explain the 2.
Downtown Douglas started as basically downtown was created because of the mill industry.
Yeah.
So we can do that. And what's nice is a lot of the Hunt, the Douglas Axe Company, got sold to the Hayward Schuster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost
So it was a transfer, yeah.
yeah. So we
There's connective tissue there.
And
Okay.
also, what you can another way you can think about it is you're moving from 1800s mill life to 1900s mill life. So you've got
Yeah.
totally different technology,
Right.
all of that stuff. So it's almost you could almost say that we're showing a narrative of how it changed.
How it evolved, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a good,
Yeah.
it's a good point of view.
Yeah. Okay.
It's funny, I just got so I'm not sure even where I saw it, may have been in the Twitter feed. There was a ship built right after the Civil War, called the SS Eastern. And it was the largest ship built at the time. And it had, because they didn't know any better, it had masts and sails, it had giant paddle wheels on it, and it had a screw propeller with stacks.
So it had everything.
So everything.
Wow.
The only thing it was missing was oars.
So
It was 692 feet. You could have 4,000 passengers on the ship,
Wow.
but they couldn't run the propellers when the sails are up because it would set the sails on fire because of the stacks. And it ran from 1859 to 1889, and it was scrapped. But it could go all the way from England to Australia without refueling. It was unheard of.
So it just just
That's all the way
switch
around.
over.
But you just had to be very careful what
Very
you were
careful.
doing.
And it couldn't go
when.
through the Suez Canal because it was too big.
So something else is, during the 1990s, Douglas had a Douglas Herald.
Yes.
It went quite a few years. Well, I've got most of them, I think.
great.
And in them is quite a bit about like the mill life and that kind of stuff. So that becomes a really good resource.
Christine and Don Anderson,
Great.
yeah.
It started with the Coppolas, I believe.
The couples, yeah.
And then it moved on. So that becomes another resource. I'm starting to kind of like, as I'm doing things, I'm noting,
Yeah.
okay, this was,
But that would be a manual process to go through those, correct?
I've already,
They're not digitized.
no, they're not, but
Yeah, they're in your
I've
head.
already got all the titles. It's, like I said, it's part of what the one I'm working on now. So it's
Okay.
already, it's very easy for me to locate them. There might be, I'm trying to think, maybe 50 copies altogether.
Yeah.
50 volumes, but so it's not like we're looking at this.
Right. Okay.
And what's nice is I've got a lot of duplicates, so we can go ahead and just,
Right.
we don't have to worry that it's the only copy.
Okay. So basically we're doing the A form, the area form.
Yep. Can I see?
And-
binder? Sorry.
No problem. I figured what you were looking for. And I'm trying to remember what the basic points were that we needed for that.
Okay, so
There's
the,
like 4 things or
Yeah.
4 main things.
so the A form, if it already has Macris number, it needs to be put in, which I believe I actually went through and I already put in all the
Yep.
Macris numbers because it was easy. Then you need the map parcel number, which you get on the assessor site.
Okay.
Then it's the street number, the street name. Actually, why am I doing this the hard way?
I have the form here actually, Becky. It's right here, I printed out. It says A, David. It's like cut out, mine's cut out too.
Street name, then the estimated year built, historic name, style, type, which is just basically whether it's a building, monument, any of that kind of stuff. Status, I believe.
I see something different on this form.
Well, so that's a full form we need to do. We need to fill this out
What's
to
the-
attach it to it.
Oh, okay. Where did this come from?
This is, I created it based on following the Lexington
Okay.
model that Ben gave us.
Okay.
I believe it was Lexington's.
Okay.
So we need to have all of this before we even start. that.
Okay. Okay. And you started it looks like, with
Yeah.
Yeah.
what we have. Great.
Yep.
So
So
what does status mean?
Like if it's been changed or if it's torn down or if it's
status was the one
Residence.
I have to look up
Okay.
on the old form.
Yep.
Then it's really important that we have the photo number. We have to have a photo with a photo number.
okay, which could be our system of
Right.
Yeah.
like
That-
maybe we should assign it to like ACE.
I almost think we just go.
Just 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think we go alphabetical order.
Okay. All right.
Just how
Starting
this is.
with yeah. Okay.
And then notes. So you have the Belding report, which everybody has seen. And then you have the Macris system. In the front page of the Macris, a lot of times style will be different. Macris will have Greek revival, while Belding just said.
Vernacular.
Vernacular.
Over and over.
So anytime there was any type of,
Discrepancy.
yeah, I went ahead and I marked it.
Okay. Well, it looks like so the style there you've got. It looks like Macris is more informational than just saying the vernacular.
General, yeah.
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 I have a question. How did you, what did you use to get the years built?
The years built came from Belding or Belding / Macris, which mostly came from Marsh. So
Because I was gonna say, like, I see mine on there, and I know, like, I've seen a couple. It depends on where you look.
Yep.
The year will be different.
And then-
like,
Because your house is a
Yeah.
real hybrid of a bunch of
Right,
different
and
styles.
then-
and everything.
Yeah.
So-
Yours is the weirdest one, probably in the neighborhood.
and then if we didn't have them, then I went to the town assessor. I
Right.
went to the assessors. Now I had actually talked to Chris, who's the town assessor, and I said to him, I got these differing dates. And I explained it to him. What he said about the assessor's report is they're human. They make mistakes making transcriptions. They can't read transcriptions. Sometimes you'll see that a house was built in 1825, but they have it as 1900. One cornerstone was left from the 1825 house. So the person who owns it is trying to be like, my house is from 1825. No, it's not, but nice try.
Yeah.
So on this report, I went with the mentality that the original Belding report was very heavily relied on Marsh. So I decided, and if anybody has a problem, like I said, this is me as I was trying to do stuff. I'm like, Marsh was already the standard. I'm going to stick with Marsh.
Yeah.
But if anybody has a problem with that, we can look other ways. We can go assessor, But Marsh, the way he went into detail, you kind of
Yeah.
knew.
Yeah, I knew that,
Yeah.
you know.
And I mean, if, like I said, if anybody has a problem with that, let me know. I just kind of was like, I needed to make a decision as I was doing it, and I'm like,
That's okay, because that's in the middle of the two I've seen. So, like, the oldest part of my house, the tax assessor says 1800, which I've had builders agree with because of the way my basement is. But the newer section is 1872 according to Marsh. So
It's got a French mansard roof.
right, Second Empire. So 1860 is kind of in the middle there. So
And
I mean,
the
it doesn't matter because it's different no matter what you look at.
well, and the thing is, if we needed to, when it came, like, if there were certain ones where they're like, okay, you need to highlight this,
Right.
then you can go into more of the history.
Yeah.
And also the assessor's office says do not sweat five plus the 5 year difference.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not gonna be scrutineering that anyway.
5 years,
No,
no big.
but I'm
Take
just,
their word for it.
but I'm just saying like that 5 year because a good example, we're putting the addition on the house. I'm not going to be taxed it for another 2 years.
Yeah, right, till it's
Be-
done.
So technically, even though the addition went on in 2023, they're going to have it as 2025.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why they said when it comes to the assessor's site, if it's a 5 year discrepancy, don't
sweat
sweat
it.
the small stuff on
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So this is what needs to be completed
So do you-
before we
oh.
can even start the A form.
Okay. So that's probably a Google Doc already, right?
Yep.
Is it in that
Yep.
Google Drive?
Yep.
Okay.
And let's see. I actually need to go through it because Caswell Court is still on here.
Okay.
So this has all of the property.
Okay.
So I'll need to clean out. Actually, no, I'm in the wrong.
Is that a different?
Here we go.
Oh.
Here's the revised one.
Okay.
Now, the library's going through a focus group right now. I'm sure everybody's heard of it.
Yep.
The woman who's running the focus group asked for some more information about the library, and she goes, there's what Macris had is saying that we didn't have enough information. So when they tried to make this a historic district in 1992, they had sent forms that requested, and Macris was like, or the Mass Historical Commission was like, not enough information, not enough information, not enough information. I believe that's what they call the highlighted properties when you're doing an area form.
So,
So you're picking out certain properties that you
Yeah.
want to highlight.
because that's what I'm thinking as you're talking. I'm looking at this form. I'm like, well, what's the area form? Because we had done the B forms for everything, and we're not going to do an A form for everything.
No,
But
so
we just take out the
you do this.
important ones.
You do this, so
Okay.
you've got all of the properties listed, and then I believe what you do is you pull out some of the
Yeah.
important ones.
I
So
wonder what, like, roughly, like, do they want 10% of those, like 20?
I think it might be more stuff like Schuster's Mill,
Yeah.
Hayward Landing.
Right, the key buildings that are,
Those are obvious, but like, what about the less obvious ones? Like, I don't have a really good example, but like a house that's well done, that's from 1850 in town. You know, like,
I think it depends on how well it fits into the narrative.
yeah,
most of the Schuster houses, of which there are 4, of course, we'd want to include those because they're
Yeah.
all built as mill housing. One on the left of the street there, on the right side of the street, is actually an 1810 house that was colonialized in the 1930s.
okay,
Wow.
But the original house dates back from like 1910.
Yeah.
So it's one of the earliest ones. The one across the street is like early 1900s. The big giant mansion is 1939.
mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
the
yeah.
cave house is like
28, 1928.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I had to think for a second.
Yeah.
But then also, because you're highlighting town life, you'd want to talk about the library, the town hall, the
right,
school.
churches. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are other things you
Civic
can
buildings.
pull out.
Right. Okay.
And I
the ones
think-
that have names.
Huh?
The ones that have names, especially.
And I think I think on Manchog Street we went as far as St. Dennis.
Right.
Okay.
That's important because a lot of the immigrants that came in at the turn of the century
Okay.
were Catholic. Because St. Dennis went from having less than 200 people to having 600 people. Like,
Mhm.
it was a rapid
And
because
there was a previous church that burned down.
Yeah. And the spelling of it, is that a French thing? Is that like what was the
the one end?
immigrants? Yeah.
I think it's French.
Yeah.
Because that was the main
A
population.
French Canadian.
Yeah.
That was the main population that started. The Italians, the Slovaks came in at the turn of the century, and Schuster would actually like go to Boston and pick them up and bring them to Douglas, say, "I can give you work."
Yeah. Okay.
That's how my family came here.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So.
So I think the big thing right now is getting this completed.
Yeah. So how do we want to divvy it up? I mean, we can all access the document at the same time and can do it,
Well, I guess the question is, do we want to divvy it up by streets?
Yeah, probably by,
Yeah, that sounds good. But you've done all this A Street as far as
Let's see. Let me see
knowledge
how far
goes.
I actually
Going back and
got
forth.
to. Like I said, the macro stuff I was filling in. So
Here's the
I got
list, too.
I got through C Street.
Okay.
And that was a mix of using Belding, Macris, and the town assessor.
Okay. So Becky, can you do like maybe you could do quick math on that other one, like how many properties is that? Oh wait, actually it's right there, right? So cut out 50 or so from the 200.
204.
204 left. No. 204
Yep,
left.
204 left.
Okay, so if we each did 50?
right.
Because we're also including stuff like monuments, cemeteries.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're all on here, but the monuments across from the current town hall, the old high school, that's had a lot done to it.
Right.
Across from the high school?
From the old high school, the town hall, today's town hall.
Okay.
That
Oh, yeah.
that was the World War II where they built the tree, where they planted the trees for the 12 Fallen, and monuments have been moved around there, and I actually have some of that history.
There was an Eagle Scout project there recently.
Um,
Yeah, and didn't Betsy do a lot of work on the cemeteries in town, right?
yeah.
She did.
So the cemeteries that would be included are Evergreen, right?
Right.
And is Evergreen the only one that actually falls in?
Sarah probably knows.
It would be Pine Grove, if you're talking about Cemetery Street. Evergreen is West Street,
That's West Street.
Oh,
so
So we're
so
probably not included West Street.
no, we didn't go that far. So
Okay,
it's
so
Pine
Pine.
we
Grove.
did Pine
Pine
Grove
Grove.
on Cemetery, and is Douglas Center included in this? I would have.
No, we already
No,
covered
Douglas
that.
Center
under-
was-
okay.
It's got its own
Too far
district.
down.
Oh, it does, okay.
So
All right.
really, so you've only got one cemetery.
Yep.
Then you've got 1, 2, 3. I guess it becomes a question if you want to include the monument that's at where West Street is, right across
Yeah.
from the caves. If you want to include that monument,
Probably.
so you've got that monument. You've got the World War II up by the town hall. You've got the one where North Street
North
and
Street
Main
splits, right.
Street split, and you've got the one on the way to St. Dennis.
Yep.
Okay.
Am
And
I
then that would
missing-
be a fourth one if we did the West Street.
I mean, it's right on the corner, so I feel like we probably
Include it.
should.
Yeah, I think.
Am
we
I
should.
missing any?
Nope.
I don't know off
So
the
I
top
think
of
you
my
got,
head.
yeah, for the parade stop.
Well,
then.
honestly, that's what I was doing. I was doing the parade in my head.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the parade stops, you got them all.
And I mean, I don't think there's any other burial grounds
They're
Yeah.
private ones, but that's it. Yeah.
that fall really in
Yeah.
our district.
Okay. Okay, so why don't you give assignments, Becky, like if you want to go through that list and we'll start with
Yeah.
Okay.
Caswell to whatever.
Okay, so A, B, and C Street are done.
Okay.
I keep losing my pencil. Sorry. I'm a mess on a good day. So, what did we say? 50 approximately?
Yeah.
3, 7, 22. Why don't we do cemetery to depot? What does that give us? 3. That'll give us 44.
Okay.
Gilbo is 40. Okay, so
It's not gonna line up right, right? Do you wanna
Yeah.
just give us streets instead of trying to put them in alpha?
okay, so Gilbo and Main Street are basically both their own there's 46 and 51.
Okay, so someone takes Gilboa and someone takes Maine.
Right.
And then
I don't care about Maine's compromise.
3 plus 7 plus 13 plus 11 plus 3. So there's 50 here.
Is Cal's well done or not?
Okay, so we'd have a 50, a 51, a 47, and a 44.
Okay, those sound good. Like, close
And
enough.
like trying to.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
All right, so read them off. What are
Okay, we've got Cemetery, Charles, Cook, Cottage, Depot.
Charles, Cook, Cottage, and Depot. I can take that if you want, since that's my street.
Okay,
And how many is that?
44.
Okay, see, I took the easy one.
Then we have Gilbo and Gleason.
Gilboa and Gleason.
That ends up being 47 because Gleason's just a sad little one.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
So are you volunteering for that one, David?
Sure.
Okay. Then we've got Main Street. Then we've got Manchog, Martin, Mechanic, North, Northeast, and Pleasant.
Manchog, Martin, Mechanic. What come after?
North, Northeast,
Uh-huh.
which is from the Fork
Okay.
to the Sokol, and then Pleasant.
Okay. All right, so you guys decide which.
I'm fine with
I'll take Manchog, Martin.
You'll take the big
Mechanic,
group and I'll do
North.
Maine?
Sure,
Okay.
sounds fine.
Okay.
I wish I had a real pen, but I'm writing it in my,
Oh,
in my,
I'm gonna have to make notes anyway, so if you want to just
oh,
wait.
okay.
And I'll send this.
Both of these, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you send me like a link to the Google Drive again? Cause
Yep.
I don't remember if I have it. I probably do, but.
Same here.
I wrote, and I have a note on the password too.
Good.
So, like I said, I think the important thing is getting this completed, so we'll know what we're looking at. Then I can start. Anytime I come across anything that has anything to do with mill life, all of that, I'll just either make copies or pull.
Okay.
So we've got that. So when I talked to Ben,
Mm-hmm.
if we just wanted to do the single building, it would have been $5,000 for a consultant.
Wow.
If we want to do the whole thing, the whole district, we're looking at 15 plus.
Okay.
So I mean, right there, we know we've got a while because the towns are not giving us that money right
Right.
now.
Right. So how do we go about asking for it? Is it part of a meeting? Do we get in?
We would have to do the town warrant. We'd have
town
to
warrant.
we'd have to do it out of town warrant. So the earliest we could do it would be next year.
Right.
In May?
Yeah.
Time frame?
First Monday of May is the town meeting.
Usually, yeah.
Okay.
Um,
And then who do we talk to the
Selectmen.
selectman's office?
Yeah, I think we'd have to start with them,
Yeah.
present what we want.
Should one of us have a friendly conversation with Matt to explain what it's all about, to or whoever we can get their ear?
I almost wonder if we should try and get this done, make sure this gets done, get a rough narrative kind of
So we
started.
have enough, ammo to take him in with us.
Yeah. Another thing, I'm not sure, but I don't know if we could maybe get grant money.
Right.
So, like I said, I think the important thing is getting the one that just went bye-bye.
Yeah. That's okay.
Getting this done, and then kind of doing a rough narrative. We're not, at least I'm not, I don't know about anybody else, I don't know enough about the architecture. Like, I could not do a narrative about our architectural.
I have you're okay with that, David?
Yeah.
I mean, I have a little bit. I have a book from college also at home, and
I worked with John Petralia for 20 years dealing with antique and historic properties.
Yeah.
So I know most of and I have reference books that I can use
yeah,
to define. A lot of them, again, a lot of the properties are vernacular, meaning they're a hybrid of a couple of different styles
Yeah.
because they weren't built by professional architects. They were just cobbled together by a builder.
yeah,
And so that has bits and pieces of this and that and this and that.
yeah.
Yeah, so like that's, I guess,
Okay,
the
so
one
David and
area
I can
that's,
tackle that
Plus a
one.
lot of, like the Hunt House on the corner of Main Street and Mechanic Street. That is a federal era house. We will never see this again. By the 1860s, the styles had changed enough that the people on Main Street felt compelled to upgrade their house to make it look like the current style. So they put bracketry and other hoo-ha on it to make it look like a Victorian style house.
so
Yeah.
the architectural description, it's describe architectural structure and landscape features and evaluate in terms of other areas within the community. So,
Okay.
And again, that ties into, once there was affluence coming in from the mills, people were able to either build new houses or upgrade their house to the current vernacular style.
then explain the historical development of the area. That's gonna be a lot on what I'm pulling for research,
From
using other
building.
stuff.
Yep.
I'm really
Okay.
good at BSing historical
Okay, good.
papers.
Yep.
I got really good at it in grad school. Then we would also, and I don't know if we would want to wait until consultant, but then we would need updated photographs of everything. Another kind of problem that we're going to run into is a lot of these pictures were taken 12, 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Does that sound about right?
Yeah, but there's been very, very little change
I
as we
feel like-
determined since then.
But I feel like the houses that have changed you know what I
I
mean?
think we probably between us know which ones have changed a lot.
I'm just saying, like, stupid stuff. You put siding on. That's a significant change in
Right.
the MHC's eyes.
Right. What I forget the format. Is it printed photos? They want actual physical photos.
I
It looks
believe-
like, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Oh, that says it on there.
Yeah, a paper photographic print 3.5 by 5.25
Wow.
or 4 by 6.
So if you,
I don't even know if you can get a 3.5 by 5 anymore. You can't get like CBS, so guess it's gonna be 4 by 6.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's both. So it's digital and
Right.
then the print.
So basically, what we're doing with our list is we're doing the A form for it. Is that what we're doing with these?
But not for all of them.
But not for all of them.
Just
For the
the
historic
just the
ones?
significant one
Okay.
we're talking about. So
All right.
maybe what we should do
Okay,
too is
so-
we're in
so-
town or doing our stuff, be like star them or
Right,
color them
right.
or whatever.
so this is Lennox. Okay, I knew it was the now. It's Lennox.
Lennox. Okay.
This is the.
I'm gonna be
Sample.
there in a couple weeks. Want me to look around?
So you can see they kind of had their own weird shape, not as weird as ours, but
Yeah.
then you've got.
They have a lot of money too.
Then they did this. I'm sorry if I'm scrolling quick, but this is.
Yeah.
No.
This is all of like the histories, the
Jesus.
architecture.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's
This is an ideal example, I assume. What we don't
yes.
have
This
to write.
this was given. This example was given to us by Ben.
Yeah.
So the sheet we've got is called a property data sheet. That's what
Property
the
data sheet. Okay, the Excel list or whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
They said they.
So do the ones that they do the descriptions for, do you know if those are the ones that were sort of, I'm gonna call them the call outs, like the ones they did the A forms for, or that's like everything? Probably not everything. Maybe
So,
sections of town.
Here's, like, right. So if you look at the second full paragraph, Tucker and Fairview Streets,
Mhm.
where they kind of give a little bit more information.
Yeah. Subdivision was part of this, and then references.
I mean, they've already got 150 footnotes.
We need the
That's
one
crazy,
that
yeah.
we need the one that passes that isn't as robust. Like, what does that look like?
Right.
That's the data sheet I just saw,
This
right?
is quite robust.
So this is what their data sheet looks like.
Okay, cool. We can do that.
Like I said, the on ours I had put notes. That was more for us if there's anything we need to make note of. It doesn't go to here.
Okay. Yeah.
And they did not include picture number, and Ben said that was very important to have
Okay.
a picture number.
We don't want to piss the MHC off.
Nope.
Note yourself, put picture numbers.
And then this is how they did it.
Oh, these are beautiful buildings.
So, I mean, technically, I could do that on a Word document.
Mm-hmm.
I know that if I'm given that, I can easily put those pieces in.
Yeah, and if we just do like 6 a page or something, and that's like your template.
Right,
Yep.
right.
And I mean, obviously, sometimes, like, here's an example. You had a bigger picture.
Yeah.
You just change things to make it fit.
And that's more of a section, so they probably reference that.
Right.
Okay.
So, like I said, this was the recommended sample,
Okay.
which is why all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, we are not even close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I said, there's a lot to pull before we even worry about getting
Mhm.
formatting and that kind of stuff done.
There's
How
your
many
monuments.
properties did their district have? Just
Yeah,
out of curiosity.
question.
Is it 100? Oh no, that's acreage. They don't give a quick number. how
Oh,
many.
okay.
Oh wait, maybe here they do. And also, I think one of the reasons Ben suggested this one is it was done in 2017.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, photo 193, so maybe that's
Mm.
about either 193 properties or
Mhm.
sections.
Right.
So it's similar. Honor, that's it. So I'm trying to get ready for like the argument, because what do we explain? Like, it's a small amount of money for the town, but it's still like we're trying to get them to spend money on something that people may think is frivolous, you know? But
Well, I mean,
for the grant money for the public buildings, there's an argument there.
Yeah,
Right, that's
and-
probably the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
and I mean, technically, you've got town hall, post office, library.
Mm-hmm.
And the argument being made, you know.
Does
obviously-
the old firehouse, does that fall in? The old firehouse falls in.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Downtown, you know, I wouldn't say it's under threat, but the traffic through town now is just insane. We're
Mhm.
just very, very much busier than we used to be.
Yeah.
And so that's always I sat in on the meetings for Sutton when they were dealing with the same thing for the old Polly's Antiques, which I sold.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because
that's
that was
a
under
building.
threat, and the building, the Beehive across the street has been torn down.
Oh.
That's the one commercial building in town, but it's grandfathered, pre-existing, non-conforming. But they wanted to put enough bylaws in place such that the expansion from 146 comes up Boston Road and the septics get extended, that the properties that are in the downtown area that they like are not threatened. So that's kind of an argument to be made too.
Yeah.
Route 16 goes right through town, we get 20,000 cars a day, trucks going through there. All this expansion that's going on over here downtown,
Between
it's
between
insane.
the cubes and the.
Gilboa, yeah,
Mm.
that's a
Okay.
potential threat,
Yeah.
for just
For
more,
tearing something
more
down.
business, for
Yeah.
tearing something down, or buildings coming under threat. So that's one of the
An
arguments. I
extra
think.
layer of protection.
Yeah.
And it would be nice to have an example. I had this from Uxbridge too with their district. I wonder.
The difference is Uxbridge is actually a local historic
Oh,
district, which
that's a big
means they
difference.
have
They
bylaws.
have bylaws.
Okay.
We're never
We
gonna get
are
that passed.
never getting bylaws passed in this town.
Yeah. Okay. This is
Nope, nope, nope. You have a better chance of the Sox and Yankees playing on on Soldier Field again.
Okay. And so I was confused because like some of the paperwork at the MHC said, oh, you know, we have consultants and whatever, and then Ben was like, no, we don't really because they're all so busy, and but he did give us 4 names, and
Plus I have that friend, Gina Betty.
yeah,
who's-
Gina was
who's
really
also,
nice and knowledgeable.
She does a lot of grant writing, so I
Yeah.
can at least touch base with her.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think
I know we're super early. But.
get the property data form done.
Right.
kind of start figuring out what our narrative is going to be, and maybe while doing that, find out if there are any grants that could possibly be available for a consultant.
Yeah.
I think something we should keep in mind, the more base information, the more base research we have, is less than the consultant's going to need to do.
Yeah.
So we can present and be like, well, we've
We
done
got
all
that,
of
we got
this,
that, we got
we've
that.
got this, we've got this. We just need help putting it together versus
Or double checking it, yeah.
we have no idea what we're doing. We're pulling our hair out.
We think we've done it all, but we just wanted to look at it.
But the thing is, I mean, it could be really stupid stuff like simple wording or leaving out tiny little facts that we don't know any better, but they do.
Yeah.
That way we're not losing any of that.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
That's just kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. That sounds good. Okay. The password, guys, is so the Gmail is douglashistorical@gmail.com. Tell me when you're ready for the password. And password is lowercase DHC 1746 exclamation.
Okay.
Because I needed stupid
And that's
eight.
all lowercase.
Yes, all lowercase.
Because you
no
need
spaces
8
or
characters in
underscores.
DHC 1746 with one short.
Exclamation.
Yep.
So when you go into the drive, we've got the shared folder, which everybody could access from their
Okay.
own Gmail
Okay.
accounts. Compressed downtown project files is literally pictures. Oh, no, I didn't put any in that one. It's pictures, maps, all of that. But if I
Okay.
put them in
Right.
raw, I would have taken up the entire
Okay.
drive. So those are just those. This is me with my little map thingies. And then the shared folder, we have all of the agendas and meetings, annual reports, big maps like from what like the town has sent us. Douglas history, which the Axe Mill chronology. This is one of the
Oh.
This
That's
is something
cool.
somebody
Right.
did, so I was
Right.
able to have it. So anytime I find anything of Douglas history of Worth, I'm going to throw it in that
Oh,
folder.
Awesome.
So
Where are we adding, where are we accessing that Excel sheet? Is that
yeah.
in there?
So
Sorry.
Mass Historical Commission is anything that we've dealt with them. National
email
Register of
thing.
Historic Districts has downtown, has Center Douglas Center, Hayward Landing, and Jenks Store. That's the full completed ones. Articles of interest, you would find the Uxbridge,
Okay.
like that, and then
Express.
Project Downtown Douglas.
Okay, so that's our big one.
Oh.
Yep. So we've got what was done in 1999, which I believe is the form Donna sent us.
Yes.
This is I called it the 2022. That was when we still had all the 415 properties. 2023 is
That's
the
where we want to
important
be.
one.
Uh-huh.
You've got the maps, which is just like this kind of stuff that shows the numbers. Then you have information by street, which is the stuff, which just shows by street, year built, and then the 99 project versus it shows
Oh,
how
okay.
the properties have changed as the district ideas have changed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then you have the inventory form.
Okay. All right, so that's where we're going.
Yep.
What, do you want to just email that to everybody while you're there? Or get it ready to email? Because
Yep.
that will be like the easiest if we
Right.
forget.
Actually, no, I need to.
David, do you think, like from a realtor perspective, like being part of that district would help someone? Like they're like, oh, we're part of the National Register. You know,
David, which
my
one?
house is part of the National Register.
Is it the iCloud one for you?
I have a Gmail account, davidgmetz@gmail.com.
David G.
KMETZ.
That's at gmail.com.
I use the iCloud, I use both.
Okay.
I have 3 email accounts.
Mine's Mac. Dawn Fontaine,
Yep.
one at Mac.
Do I bother including Betsy?
I would.
Say no.
I mean,
Say
just in
yes.
case she, you know, is
All right,
able
that's
to.
fine, yeah, let's make it official.
Just in case she's able to jump in and, you know,
Sure.
we can always divide it up again
Yeah.
if she wants some, you know, if she has time.
Yeah, so is it, do you think it's, if they understand, you know, that there's no restrictions, being on the National
Right.
Register, I think that would be
it's
like a,
important also to like make sure people know there's not restrictions because I know a lot
Yes,
of people are
it's
like have
super
they like have a
important.
negative viewpoint
Well-
because they think they're going to be restricted
Right.
in what
So
they can
I
do.
don't know if you
so-
guys get library news, but I've been doing my bits and pieces.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been doing them on historic districts. So
Oh,
I
neat.
mean, I've got little write-ups that explain what each one is, and I mean, if we ever needed to, we could use them as a resource.
yeah,
It's,
okay.
it's a, I have to say it's a double-edged sword. Some people
Really?
like it, some people don't want it.
Huh.
Because like I said, because they're afraid that it's gonna
Because
limit
they
what
don't
they do.
understand.
They don't understand that, you know, as, one of the big arguments was, we're in the Blackstone River National Heritage Corridor. When they were trying to build a new airport, 25, 30 years ago here, they had planes flying over, they were doing photographing. The whole area south of, in southern part of Douglas was gonna be,
Airspace.
Logan West.
Wow.
And then Richard Moore said, you realize you're in the Blackstone River Valley National Area Corridor. Boom, they were gone. They wouldn't want to touch that because no matter what they
Yeah.
did, the bad blood from that
That's a
would have
good
been
story to tell
horrible.
people, yeah.
So if they want to make Route 16 wider for more traffic, you're in a historic district. They wouldn't want to touch it.
Yeah,
You know, they can do it now out in Gilboa because it's not in a district.
yeah,
Right. Had that been in a district, I'm sure there'd been repercussions even in getting that huge
The
big
cube.
block of things
oh, the
built on
cubes
the,
there, yeah.
the cube. The cube from outer space.
I like block of things better.
And that- Wait a minute.
That's what it's going to be from now on. It's no longer the cubes.
500 trucks a day coming through there. Crazy.
Right. Right.
I got a boogie.
Block of things at Gilboa.
Would that have fallen in it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm in the wrong map. I really don't
You're
think-
close, you're close.
But would that have fallen in it?
I think you're right on the threshold.
Because
It's right, it's right,
It's right.
almost
It's
right.
right
Right
past.
there, yeah, it's
it's
right
right
there.
past the mill.
Right
It would have
after.
still been in.
right here.
Half of it would have been in there.
Yeah.
Because they're coming across that little spill, that's a spillway right here. So they're just right in that area.
Yeah. It would have. Because if you think about it, they're literally right across from the mill.
Yeah,
Yep.
because that crosses.
Or that entrance is. So if
Do
they
we know
want
what they're
that
doing
close,
back
right?
there? Do we know?
I think they're trying to build up a bridge so that the traffic can go
What are they building all the way in the
Cubes.
back?
cubes.
More cubes?
No, that's going to be it's basically going to be storage cubes.
Okay.
People have too much stuff, right? I can
That's
attest
the
to
cube.
that.
That's the cube project. One of the Blackstone Valley Tribunes had an article on it. I'll forward it to everyone.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Because that's something else I've started going through the Tribune, the Express every week, and taking articles that are relevant to Douglas and saving them.
Excellent.
So I've got some of that stuff
Maybe
too.
something too, I'm not saying we'll take it on, but at the American Antiquarian Society in Worcester,
Oh,
they have records.
yeah, that could be good too. I've been in there and it's,
Yeah, it's a fascinating building.
yeah.
I did one of my internships there.
Oh, very cool.
Thank you so much for your help. It's fantastic. Because I know I've been with this thing